M Studios, brought to you by Old Mutual.
We're talking about the data that we actually discover about an artist and about the artist's music and how it's performing, and we're serving that through Spotify for Artists. You can see it in real time on the Spotify for Artists mobile app. We actually have artists that check in it 20 times a day when they just kick out a new release. They want to see how is it going. So that data, you can use that to make better business decisions, because it'll tell you. You'd be surprised to see in which country or just even in which city actually your tracks are doing very well. We had a chat with Metallica some years ago, and they were saying, look, whenever you go to concert, we just look at the Spotify data and see where is what type of music being favored, which of our tracks, and therefore they create the set list for that. So Seattle, for example, they brought this example, said they just want more of the hard songs. So maybe open with Nothing Else Matters and then go more to the harder things. But that's just like one area. You'll also see where your audience is. So, and therefore go to your touring manager or company or promoter and talk about, well, I think I have a huge following. We had an artist saying, we have a huge following in Durban, but you never presented the opportunity that we can actually go and do a gig there. So you use that information to make better decisions. At the same time, what you could also do is try to find new audiences in new countries. So literally on Spotify, there's no borders. You're talking to a global audience of 320 million people, out of which 144 million today are paying. And it's going to grow. I mean, over the last few years, we had roughly a 30% growth in our user base. And so therefore, if you kind of stimulate with paying a few bucks on Facebook marketing money, or like whatever, you choose the platform where you market your music, why not promoting it, let's say in France, and then just see how it goes. Put a few bucks there and see how it performs. You kind of jump starting then your track in France, if you just use France as an abstract example. And then you see the data and say, okay, well, it's interesting. And if you advertise in 5 countries, you see in which of these 5 countries your track is actually performing better. And therefore you make better decisions on what are you focusing on. Oh, and a very, very simple one, I should have mentioned this first, is if you release an album, you want to know which are the tracks that are performing best out of your album, and therefore make your decisions on how you are actually investing your efforts and your time when you produce your next album, because you know what's going to fly, you know much better, and things become less subjective. Let the data tell you. And again, trial and error, just try it out. It's very, very simple. It's easier to use than lots of other social media platforms.
Music has changed. How it makes us feel never will. The time is now to visit mstudios.co.za.